When I was a kid, I'd have trouble sleeping unless there was some form of light and sound in the room. So watching DVDs while I was trying to sleep was a no-brainer. Some of these DVDs included Harry Potter, Transformers, Avatar, Pokémon Chronicles.
Wait. What the hell is a Pokémon Chronicle?
Well, Pokémon Chronicles is a spin-off series of the Pokémon anime. It originally aired in Japan in October 2002 and concluded in September 2004. An English dub was produced and first aired in Britain between May and October of 2005. Later, the series premiered in the US in June 2006. By that point, it had ended for most other countries. There's 4 DVDs of the spin-off, and according to Wikipedia, these DVDs were never released in the US. So there's a good chance you've never heard of this until today. Listen, 50% of my audience is based in America. I have to appeal to the majority. To those who have heard of Pokémon Chronicles, I hope this video serves as a trip down memory lane. To those who haven't heard of Pokémon Chronicles, this is a Pokémon anime you've never seen before. The episodes literally start off saying, never before seen stories from the world of Pokemon. This is not clickbait. For the most part, Pokemon Chronicles doesn't include Ash Ketchum. It's about other characters. There's 22 episodes, and while there's a few fillery bits, there's also some pretty cool stuff that, to me, just goes to show the Pokemon anime doesn't need Ash Ketchum. Or well, it would be nice to at least see more stuff where the focus is other characters. Anyway, when it comes to the Pokemon anime, I'm not the most knowledgeable, so I've never ever felt comfortable making content on it. But Pokemon Chronicles is different because most nights of my childhood, I'd fall asleep watching it. I went through this phase of not liking Pokemon anymore when I was 12, so I sadly gave away my box set of Pokemon Chronicles years ago, and honestly, I couldn't find anywhere to watch this online in decent quality, so I decided to buy it again. It cost me like 50 quid. But it's worth it. I really wanted to watch it again and share my thoughts on it with you guys. It also turns out I've never seen Disc 4 before. Disc 4 is its own separate bumper disc which I just never owned. So I'll actually be covering something new here. Let's do it. The Legend of Thunder. The first episode of Pokémon Chronicles starts off with a feature-length episode called The Legend of Thunder. The main character of the movie is a trainer called Jimmy, the anime equivalent of Gold. It's a movie about Raikou, which is pretty awesome since Entei and Suicune got their own movies. An interesting fact is that Raikou is the only legendary Ash hasn't technically met yet. He saw a shiny one in the Zoroark movie, and he briefly saw one in the I Choose You movie, but he's never full-on met Raikou. Whether or not movie sightings are canon or not is a whole other debate. I just thought it was cool a side character actually got some legendary love for a change. Anyway, back to what the Legend of Thunder is all about. These new Team Rocket members called Attila and Hun, get it, set out to capture Raikou, so they can use its power to take over the world. Pretty generic idea, to be honest, but that's okay. The episode starts off with Jimmy and his Typhlosion battling some random trainer and his Hitmonlee. The trainer boasts how he's never lost a solo match, while Jimmy admits to losing half of his, but reassures us that's okay because he's learned a lot from those experiences. Looking back at this, it's actually an awesome message to let kids know that it's okay to lose. I probably never picked up on that message when I was younger, but it's still a cute message. Jimmy smokes this kid, and while he's visiting the Pokemon Center, he bumps into an old friend, Marina. Marina is on the phone with Vincent, which is a huge coincidence because Marina, Jimmy, and Vincent all started their Pokemon journey together back at New Barktown. Anyway, turns out Vincent has a huge crush on Marina, but it seems as if Marina has a crush on Jimmy, but Jimmy's just chilling and has no idea what's going on. Classic love triangle thing. Cool, whatever. They chat for a bit and Marina talks about becoming a huge star or something. One thing leads to another, and now they're having a battle. Right as we're about to get into the main battle, Croconaw versus Typhlosion, they're interrupted by a huge lightning storm that mysteriously has their Pokemon running towards it. Turns out it's Attila and Hun and their weird crystal that's sucking all the power from the Pokemon. It doesn't take long for Raikou to show up and save the day. My favorite part about this episode actually is Attila and the nicknames he gives Raikou. He calls Raikou Little Striper as he attempts to catch it with his claw machine. It's just fun. It's just the delivery is what gets it for me, man. But of course, Raikou simply dodges the claw machine. It fires off a huge thunderbolt or something. A bit of a generic back and forth. And right as Attila and Hun are about to capture Raikou, Jimmy and Marina, of course, jump in to help. As a kid, I never realized how hilarious it is that in response to Jimmy sending forward his Typhlosion, Attila and Hun send in Steelix and Skarmory, 2 Steel-type Pokemon. I mean, anime logic doesn't really care much for type advantages, as we've seen in the past, but it's just funny how confidently they send in 2 steel types, which in the games have huge special defense flaws. And Typhlosion's a special attacker. It's just crazy looking back on it. Blah 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 blah, the gang beats Team Rocket, Raiku's exhausted and gets taken back to the Pokemon Center. They meet Eugene, who's obsessed with Raikou, and oh boy, would you look at the runtime, it's only been 30 minutes. Raikou bakes itself out of the Pokemon Center and basically runs into Team Rocket's hands again. The gang, of course, have to follow it and try to protect it, because if they weren't there last time, Team Rocket would have actually successfully caught a legendary Pokemon. Oh wait, did they just successfully catch a legendary Pokemon? At some point, Vincent popped up with his Meganium to help, which is cool, until he's just crying and complaining the rest of the episode. Because, oh yeah, Marina also got kidnapped along with Raikou. And because of that little oversight, Raikou is able to be freed from Team Rocket once more. But Marina is still captured because she doesn't realize that she probably could have just mounted Raikou's back as it jumped out of the... whatever. The gang and Raikou find Team Rocket for a third and final time, where they're gonna finally put a stop to this madness. The crystal turns black or something, which makes it even more powerful, which means Raikou is trapped unless they can overwhelm the crystal with power and break it. It's apparently a suicide mission, because if they don't get out of there fast enough, the explosion will kill them. But you know, the main character send their Pokemon out there to save the day anyway, and of course they succeed with no casualties. I do apologize if I sounded like I was rushing this a bit. I just don't want this video to be entirely about The Legend of Thunder. It's actually a pretty okay movie. I just think it got a bit repetitive and maybe overstayed its welcome a little bit. It probably could have been fine with being 40 minutes long instead of 60. But hey, it's a side series, so I guess we can't expect too much. After The Legend of Thunder, there's 2 of those fillery episodes I was talking about. You know, the episodes where it's all about the Pokemon and there's no trainer in sight. There's not much to say about these, so I'll probably just show my favorite clips or something. But the first one is about Pikachu and the gang helping Delibird find the presents it lost before Christmas starts. The second one is about Pikachu and the gang building a Snorlax snowman, which comes to life due to magic and sort of takes them on a mini adventure. Cute episodes, but not something I want to spend much time talking about. Oh yeah, and they fucking used Comic Sans in the outro of this. I can't believe it. A family that battles together stays together. This episode stars Brock. He's returning home to see his family. The episode starts off with his dad, Flint, trying to send him away from Pewter because a lot has changed since he was gone. Brock's mom, Lola, has remodeled the Pewter City gym into a water gym, no matter how much their entire family is against it. I find this strange because we already have Misty's gym. It just seems a bit redundant for trainers to battle 2 water type gyms, but whatever. Is it like not against the rules or something to just change your gym type? Like, is there no law? Brock convinces Lola and Flint to battle to determine what will happen to the gym. If Flint wins, the gym goes back to being a rock type gym. If Lola wins, all their kids will become water trainers. Seems really controlling to me, but you know, whatever. It's a 1v1 battle, Marl versus Golem. It ends up only being 1 turn long because Marl naturally OHKOs Golem with Surf. Lola and Flint reminisce on when they first met. Brock interrupts, saying he won't let the gym become a water gym and he'll battle his own mother himself before that happens. As if that's really dramatic or something. Flint and Lola announce over dinner that they've decided that they're going to handle both water and rock type Pokemon in Pewter Gym, which honestly would be the first gym of its kind, so I think it's kind of cool. But of course, everyone is against it, and Brock is going to go ahead and battle Lola to make the gym a rock type gym again. Reluctantly, Lola battles Brock. It's Onix versus Mantine. Brock big brain plays it and makes his Onix use Dig, which drains the water from the gym, meaning he has the field advantage. Mantine uses Bubble Beam, which should definitely OHKO Onix, but this is the anime, so all logic just goes out the window. They trade a couple blows, but Brock's Onix winds up winning. The Pure City gym stays a rock type gym, with Lola requesting the decorations stay up. Brock allows it, leaving behind his Onix, and makes his way to Hoenn to rejoin Ash. And that's the first 5 episodes on Disc 1. My favorite one, of course, is The Legend of Thunder. I really enjoyed seeing Jimmy and his Typhlosion. I wish they appeared more in Pokémon Chronicles, but I regret to tell you that they do not. Anyways, let's move on to Disc 2, shall we? Cerulean Blues! This episode starts off with Misty going home after her adventure with Ash and Brock. On her way, she sees an ad saying that Pokemon gyms are being closed down if they're unsafe, unclean, or uncool. She overhears from some random guy that they're going to be heading to Cerulean City next. This is an issue because she's the new gym leader of Cerulean Gym and her sisters aren't home to look after the gym, so the gym doesn't have a gym leader right now. Naturally, she rushes home to try and save her gym from being closed. As Misty is rushing home, we're introduced to the invincible Pokemon brothers, which apparently Misty kicked their ass a while ago or something. They used to be a part of Team Rocket. I actually don't remember, but they're plotting some sort of revenge. The episode then sort of changes focus to be about this rampaging Gyarados, and Misty struggles to get it in its Pokeball. Eventually they come to the conclusion that until they figure out how to get Gyarados back in the ball, they'll have to lock it up to keep all the other Pokemon safe. There's a Nurse Joy there to support Misty through this, and she asks Misty why she struggles to face Gyarados so much. You know, besides it being a 28-foot water dragon. There's then a flashback scene of Misty crawling into Gyarados' mouth when she was a baby, and that's why she's scared of it. Eventually, the invincible Pokemon brothers finally show up and challenge Misty to a battle for ownership of the gym. Apparently there's a rule about gym leaders never being allowed to turn down a challenge, so she accepts and the battle begins. The first battle, the brothers lead with a Hitmonchan versus Misty Staryu. She literally has a Starmie, what is she thinking? Anyway, the punching type Hitmonchan pretends to be fainted in the water and OHKOs Staryu with a surprise attack. The judge, Nurse Joy, thinks that this is unfair and gives the first round to Misty. Second round is Misty's Corsola versus Tentacruel. I honestly laughed so hard at the tackle Corsola tries to use on Tentacruel, it's just so pathetic and slow. While the Corsola is charging, the brothers send in 2 more Tentacruel. Misty says that this isn't fair, but they claim it actually is because she agreed to a battle versus the brothers, not just one of them. Nurse Joy disqualifies them, and this angers them to the point of using Poison Sting on Gyarados locked up in a cage. For some reason, Misty thinks it's a bright idea to stand in front of the Poison Sting attack from 3 Tentacruels and take it herself. I guess this moment shows Gyarados that Misty cares for him, and Gyarados breaks out of prison, saves Misty, blows the invincible Pokemon brothers away, and most importantly, finally gets back in his Pokeball. And to top it all off, Joy wound up being one of those agents Misty saw on TV at the beginning of the episode, so Misty passed the inspection. To be honest, this was quite a neat episode. As I was watching it originally, I felt like it was just jumping to different plot points randomly, but it wound up tying it all together in the end, which was just super neat and satisfying to watch. We're no angels! This episode stars Team Rocket. Pokémon Chronicles has quite a few episodes of Team Rocket, and they always wind up being my favorite. This episode starts with Jessie, James, and Meowth crashing down after another Pikachu electrical attack. They crash into this village, in which they are mistaken as superheroes, Team Righteous. They attempt to prove that they are bad guys by killing what they believe to be the village's guardian robot. Turns out it was an evil robot, so Team Rocket actually did what the villagers wanted of them. Team Rocket then realized that they can use this to their advantage by taking over the village and making it their new Team Rocket headquarters, so they go along and pretend that they are Team Righteous. They march their way up the hill to confront the guy sending out evil robots, and it turns out he's actually a good guy all along, and what villagers thought were robots set out to destroy was actually just farming robots to help with crops. Now that problem has been solved, one more has to pop up. Talos are coming to destroy the villagers' crops, so Team Rocket and the mad scientist work together to stop them. They of course successfully stop the Talos, and afterwards they briefly consider becoming heroes. But of course, in classic Team Rocket fashion, they get into a fight and cause their robot to blast off without any way of controlling it. And the villagers just take that as their job being done, which is kinda cute. They never had any idea that Team Rocket was actually bad guys. This is one of my favorite episodes from the entire box set, just because I love seeing Team Rocket actually do good, even if it isn't intentional. Showdown at Oak Corral. This episode starts off with a Team Rocket helicopter flying towards Oak's lab. Ash's Noctowl takes notice of this. This is the first episode that stars Butch and Cassidy of Team Rocket. Honestly, I think I prefer these guys to Jessie and James, but it may just be because of how rare it is to see them. Team Rocket's goal in this episode is to steal Pokemon from Oak's lab. They dress up as Nidoqueen and Golem so they can get past all of the Pokemon without suspicion. The main points of enjoyment of this episode for me personally is just seeing the Pokemon in Oak's lab fuck with them while they're dressed up. There's a scene where Totodile gets wrecked by them, reflecting his water gun back at him. A Nidoking tries to mate with a Nidoqueen suit. A Muck gets all up in their business. It's just typical funny Pokemon stuff. Anyway, Team Rocket do eventually manage to grab the Pokeballs from Oak's lab, but this is Pokemon and Team Rocket are never allowed to win. The Pokemon roaming outside of Oak's lab slow them down as Noctowl leads Oak, Dahlia, and Tracy to their helicopter, preventing them from leaving. They of course have a battle, the good guys win, but the best part is that CORRAL gets his revenge and blasts them off. The Blue Badge of Courage! This episode starts off with Misty trying to finally teach Psyduck how to swim. Of course they don't succeed. They're interrupted by Sakura, who wants to battle Misty for a gym badge. Turns out though they've run out of gym badges and they need to go collect new ones. They make their way to the village that Misty's sister told them to go to, and on their way there they stumble across an old man screaming for help. He's badly injured his leg from tree jumping or something, so they carry him back to his place so he can get patched up. It turns out this is the badge guy. He got really offended when they asked for new badges. He stated that they had to earn them. The next day they woke up early to go for a run, and then they got put to work to literally create a new batch of gym badges. Even after all the work they went through, literally creating the badges from scratch, they weren't allowed to keep them unless they put up a good fight against this Feraligatr. As they're about to battle, Psyduck blows it and reveals that it doesn't know how to swim despite being a water type Pokemon. The badge guy sees them as unsuitable because of this and returns to his home, where he discovers the gym badges had been stolen. The episode wraps up with Misty and the gang rescuing the badges from some thieves. Misty uses Psyduck in this battle, which makes the badge guy change his mind about not giving them the badges. Even though Psyduck can't swim, he gets a pass for being a winner. This episode was okay. It was kind of nice to get an insight into how gym badges come to exist. Oaknapped. And for the final episode of Disc 2, we have Oaknapped. Believe it or not, this is an episode where Professor Oak gets kidnapped. At the start of the episode, Richie shows up to get some advice from Professor Oak. Tracy says that he's out, but they can call him. So they do just that. They call him, but it turns out he's vanished. Apparently there were two suspicious scientists that asked Oak to come see something right before he went to lunch. And it turns out those two scientists were Butch and Cassidy. And of course, they're the ones that kidnapped Professor Oak. The reason they kidnapped Professor Oak was because their boss, Dr. Nanba, needed information on Pokérus, and I guess how Team Rocket can use it to their advantage. Long story short, Richie basically hard carries this episode. He figures everything out, does most of the work, and saves Professor Oak. Episodes with Richie in them are always good. I really like him as a character, and I honestly wish they did more with him nowadays. I think Disc 2 as a whole had better episodes than Disc 1, mainly because Disc 2 had more variety. Celebi and Joy! And with that, we're moving on to Disc 3. The first episode is Celebi and Joy, and it stars Richie. You love to see it. It starts off with him being told that the Pokemon Center of the town that he's visiting is being torn down, so of course Richie does the normal thing and stops the demolition by beating the workers in a Pokemon battle. He gets to know the Joys that run the center. They want to keep it up because it's got lots of memories. Richie gets teleported back to the past because of Celebi and essentially is tasked with saving Joy's friend Nick, who died many years back. He winds up succeeding, which changes the future. Nick is now the mayor of the town and is revamping the Pokemon Center instead of demolishing it. It's a cute little episode, but I wish it had a bit more actual Pokemon action. A date with DELCATTY! The next episode starts off with Misty talking to her sisters about how hard it is being a gym leader, as if they don't know already. Butch and Cassidy are tasked with stealing some kid's Delcatty. Apparently, it's really rare. Coincidentally, that kid is Giorgio. He has a crush on Misty and sends her some love letters. They meet up and she kindly rejects him. He reveals that he has tickets to some sort of ELECTABUZZ baseball game. Casey's here, by the way, and convinces Misty to battle Giorgio for the date. If Misty wins, she doesn't have to go. If he wins, she goes with him. The battle starts and Delcatty is immediately yoinked up by Butch and Cassidy. Pelipper is actually useful and stops them from escaping, and then they proceed to get their ass handed to them by Misty, Casey, and Giorgio. Now Giorgio has his Delcatty back, they can get back to their battle. After a small back and forth, Misty wins, and Casey challenges Giorgio to a battle for his spare ELECTABUZZ ticket. She winds up losing to a weakened Delcatty nonetheless, but Giorgio, being the king he is, gives Casey the ticket anyway. Training days! Finally, a good episode. Probably one of my favorites. It's about how Jessie, James, and Meowth met during their training days. Jessie could never find a partner good enough for her. She lost 10 in the past 2 months. Because of this, she's on her final chance. This is when we're introduced to James, her final partner. Jessie and James begin training together. Meanwhile, Meowth has met up with Giovanni and is failing to please him. Giovanni essentially just wants rid of Meowth, so he lumps him in with Jesse and James. After all their training, Team Rocket hold a survival contest. They only get a piece of bread and a water bottle each for the night. They show off James's kindness here because he winds up giving Meowth his bread because for some reason Meowth has a huge appetite. Has Meowth always had this huge appetite? I honestly don't remember him being this fat. Anyway, skip forward a bit. James winds up being hospitalized because he doesn't want to hurt Meowth by hanging from his tail, so he falls. His entire body's completely bandaged up. It must be really bad. While James is still in hospital, they are given their final mission. They need to steal a rare red Snorlax. Jessie gives up because she is once again alone. Not so fast though. Turns out James doesn't actually care that he's injured, and he wants to succeed because he promised he'd never let her down. Anyway, Jessie, James, and Meowth wind up in a similar situation as before, except this time, instead of letting James fall, Meowth and Jessie grab him and pull him up. Even though they never finish the mission, Jessie, James, and Meowth become official Team Rocket agents, while Butch and Cassidy are villains in training. Like I said, this episode is one of my favorites, and if I could only recommend you watch one episode from Chronicles, I would probably recommend this one. Journey to the starting line. This one sucks, I can't even lie. This episode is about the mayor's son finally getting a starter Pokemon. Turns out, he's a major dick. He talks about how he wants a Gen 3 starter, not Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle because everyone starts with them. He then continues to talk about how raising Pokemon is annoying and how he would love to start with a Raichu. If he played Pokemon games, he'd definitely gen his Pokemon. Disaster strikes and the Kanto starters run away, so the rest of the episode is basically about them tracking them down. And along the way, the mayor's son learns to love and appreciate the Kanto starters. It's cute and sends a pretty nice message to kids. Putting the air back in Aerodactyl. This episode is another fun one because it has Gary! I've missed you, Gary. Oak and Tracy go to visit Gary because Gary needs to show them something. As soon as they set foot off the boat, they agree to an Aerodactyl. Gary goes on to explain that he's been reviving extinct Pokemon and Aerodactyl has escaped. So this episode basically consists of the gang trying to find Aerodactyl and recapture it. It wouldn't be an episode of Pokémon Chronicles if Butch and Cassidy weren't involved. Aerodactyl comes across Butch and Cassidy and startles them. Despite this, they decide that that's the Pokemon they're going to try and catch today. Farfetch'd of all Pokemon helps out and finds Aerodactyl, and Tracy's dumbass grabs onto it. Butch and Cassidy use a big ass net to capture the Aerodactyl. We get to see Gary in action. He uses his Umbreon to battle Butch and Cassidy. This little girl called Crystal is clutch also. She uses her Ivysaur, solar beams the fuck out of Team Rocket. But the Hyper Beam from Aerodactyl is what puts the nail in the coffin. Oh, but look, there's still some runtime to go, so Aerodactyl fucks off again. They come to the conclusion that Aerodactyl is so scared because it's new to the world. I mean, I would be too. They discover what Aerodactyl eats and gather some of it in an attempt to calm it down and gain its trust. Team Rocket try to fuck with Aerodactyl again, but of course, they put a quick stop to that. And then they show Aerodactyl that they're friends with Pokemon, and they want to be Aerodactyl's friend too. They of course succeed, and the episode ends. And that concludes Disc 3. I don't mean to drive you guys away from the video because the longer you watch, the better for my channel, but Disc 4 is honestly kind of filler. I mean, I guess technically all of this is filler, but Disc 4 has like one good episode out of 7, so we're very much near the end. LUVDISC is a many-splendored thing. I don't even know what that means. So this episode is about Butch and Cassidy stealing LUVDISCs. LUVDISCs! It's kind of a snooze fest, I can't lie, so I'm just gonna read out my notes that I took while watching this episode. It's about 2 LUVDISCs, one LUVDISC loves the other LUVDISC, but they keep getting rejected. Butch and Cassidy catch the LUVDISC. Tracy's a huge simp. Team Rocket cave hideout is amazing. They successfully steal another LUVDISC. Why do they keep calling them LUVDISC Pokemon? The LUVDISC kiss and start flying? Okay. Butch and Cassidy try extra hard to catch these LUVDISC, and honestly, it's so sad. LUVDISC are pathetic Pokemon just like this episode. Those darn ELECTABUZZ! Episode 2 is Those Darn ELECTABUZZ. It's about that ELECTABUZZ baseball team that's been referenced throughout Chronicles. They've lost 10 times in a row because they're missing their best player, Corey DeMario. He injured his shoulder a while ago. Even though it's better now, he just isn't as enthusiastic about baseball as he once was. Coincidentally, Casey bumps into Corey, and the rest of the episode, she spends it trying to hype Corey and Corey's Charizard. Kanto! Let's fucking go! Charizard from Kanto! Yeah, she spends the rest of the episode trying to hype them back up so he can play baseball again and Charizard can fly and spit fire again. The episode is kind of boring right until the end, where Charizard literally learns to fly again because Corey and Casey's lives are in danger. In the end, Casey winds up successfully helping Corey and Charizard, and the Electabuzz finally go back to winning again. Hooray. The search for the legend. Episode 3 is the only good episode in Disc 4. It stars Richie, and is an episode about this guy Silver looking to find and battle Moltres. Quick side note, this guy Silver is, I think it's like the #1 contender that people have of being Ash Ketchum's dad. Maybe, I don't know. A lot of people think he could be Ash's dad. Butch and Cassidy, of course, are here under disguise. They're getting help from Silver. How did they go to hunting down LUVDISC to now hunting down Moltres? Literally within 2 episodes. Anyway, Butch and Cassidy try to keep Richie away while they go searching for Moltres, but Richie doesn't listen and follows them anyway. The whole reason Silver wants to battle Moltres is because he saw it when he was a kid. Richie and Silver go on to beat Team Rocket, and Moltres falls into a volcano. It turns out it's okay though, because the volcano heals Moltres and Silver gets to battle Moltres at its full strength, just like he wanted to all along. The volcano begins to erupt, but Silver says he wants to stay in battle, and then like 3 seconds later he decides, okay, I'll leave. And then he gets Salamence to fly them out. The episode ends, and honestly, it was a pretty hype one overall, but like I said, it's the only actual good episode of Disc 4. The last 4 episodes are those Pokemon shorts where it stars the Pokemon without any trainers. There's a few notes I took for them, I suppose, that I could share, but I wasn't really invested in these last 4 episodes. Here are my notes for Of Meowth and Pokemon. Meowth owns an apartment, what the fuck? Smoochum steals Meowth's food or something. Blah blah blah, iconic Wooper scene. Here's my notes for Trouble in Big Town. Wooper is cute! Best episode. Show cute clips. I stopped paying attention and everything just went to shit. Here's my notes for Big Meowth Little Dreams. Another filler episode narrated by Meowth. Kecleon. All I care about is Kecleon. Kecleon steals his food. This is one of the cooler episodes just because of Kecleon. Skitty's in the second half of this episode. I love Skitty, baby moment. Meowth is obsessed with trying to get Skitty to love him. Kinda weird, bro. And finally, my Pikachu's Winter Vacation Christmas night notes. Final episode is sadly anticlimactic and is yet another filler episode where the Pokemon get up to whatever they get up to. Kangaskhan's voice, what the fuck. That's it. Those are all my notes. I feel kind of bad because the last 4 episodes were anticlimactic, but that's just how it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this trip down memory lane, or you enjoyed learning about Chronicles. I've been working on this video for a while, so I hope you enjoyed how it turned out. Pokemon Chronicles was such a huge part of my life growing up, and I just really wanted to make a video talking about it, sharing some of my favorite parts, and I don't know, maybe inspire some of you to go check it out for yourself. Keep in mind, it is a side series, so it's not to be compared to the main episodes in my opinion. Of course, it's going to be a bit more fillery, but it's Pokemon, and for the most part, I enjoyed it nonetheless. If you want to see more videos like this, then remember to subscribe to my channel and let me know what you want me to talk about next. I'm honestly down to talk about anything. I want to give a big fat thank you to you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.